Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be talking more about the legislative branch of the government, and specifically we are going to be talking about what a term is for a congressperson, some of the compensation they receive for their service, and some of the special sessions that people can be called into. So this is going to just continue on from our last video about the legislative branch of the government. So, terms of Congress. Each term of Congress lasts for 2 years, and each of those 2-year terms is numbered consecutively. Article 1, Section 2, Clause 1. Congress began its first term on March 4th, 1789. That term ended 2 years later on March 3rd, 1791. The date for the start of each new term was changed by the 20th Amendment in 1933. In an earlier era, the several months from election to March 4th allowed for delays in communicating election results, and it gave newly chosen lawmakers time to arrange their affairs and travel to Washington. The March date gave Congress less time to accomplish its work each year, however, and by the 1930s, travel and communication were no longer an issue. The start of each new 2-year term is now noon of the 3rd day of January of every odd number year. So, the scheduled term of the 113th Congress runs for 2 years, from noon on January 3rd, 2013 to noon on January 3rd, 2015. Sessions of Congress. A session of Congress is that period of time during which each year Congress assembles and conducts business. There are 2 sessions to each term of Congress, 1 session each year. The Constitution provides that. And a quote directly from the Constitution: "The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meeting shall begin at noon on the 3rd day of January, unless they shall by law appoint a different day." That's the 20th Amendment. Congressional process. In fact, Congress often does appoint a different day. The second session of each 2-year term frequently convenes a few days or even a few weeks after the 3rd of January. Congress adjourns or suspends until its next session each regular session as it sees fit. Until World War II, the nation's lawmakers typically met for 4 or 5 months each year. Today, the many pressing issues facing Congress force it to remain in session through most of each year. Both houses do recess for several short periods during a session. That is, they temporarily suspend business. So, whenever the Senate or the House of Representatives chooses to go into a recess, that means that they are temporarily suspending business. This can be done for a multitude of reasons, but it's not that they're stopping, it's just that they are stopping for a short time. That could be due to many different reasons. Special sessions. Only the President shall call Congress into special session. Article 2, Section 3. Only 27 of these special joint sessions of Congress have ever been held. President Harry Truman called the most recent one in 1948 to consider anti-inflation and welfare measures in the aftermath of World War II. Note that the President can call Congress on either of its houses into a special session. The Senate has been called alone on 46 occasions to consider treaties or presidential appointments, but not since 1933. The House has never been called alone. Of course, the fact that Congress now meets nearly year-round reduces the likelihood of special sessions. That fact also lessens the importance of the President's power to call one. Still, as Congress nears the end of its session, the President sometimes finds it useful to threaten a special session if the 2 chambers do not act on some measure high on the administrative's legislative agenda. So, this could be used if, there's a war that could happen. If Congress is like, well, we're about to adjourn, and the President can say, no, I'm going to call a special session, and now I'm going to force you to come back. So, now, like the PowerPoint there said, special sessions were more of a thing back whenever Congress wasn't meeting nearly year-round, so that's not really used as much anymore. but it is still an option that a president can threaten if Congress can't reach some agreement on a topic that is very important. Congressional compensation. The Constitution says that members of Congress shall receive a compensation for their services to be ascertained by law. Article 1, Section 6, Clause 1. That is, the Constitution says the Congress fixes its own pay. The late Senator Russell Long once characterized this provision as one that gives to members of Congress a power that no good man would want and no bad man should have. The 27th Amendment modified this pay-setting authority. It declares that no increase in members' pay can take effect until after the next congressional election. That is, not until after voters have had an opportunity to react to the pay raise. So, yes, Congress is in an interesting position as they get to set their own salaries. But, because that is alarmingly easy to manipulate in your own interest, I mean, who wouldn't vote to give themselves a pay raise? So, this 27th Amendment said that you can do that, you can vote to make a pay raise, but those pay raises don't go into effect until after the next election. So, a person, if you want to set it up so that there's a congressional pay raise, that's fine, but you're not going to get it unless you get reelected. So, that kind of helped to balance that out. Members of Congress are required by the Constitution to set their own salaries, as they did in January of 2009. So let's take a look at this political cartoon. It says, "Next time I say let's be proactive and vote ourselves a pay raise before the government shuts down." So, the cartoonist here is just making fun of the fact that they can set their own pay raise, so if the government shuts down, it doesn't matter, they still get paid. Salary. Today's senators and representatives are paid $174,000 per year. A few members are paid somewhat more. The Speaker of the House makes $223,500 per year. The Vice President makes $230,700 per year. The Senate Presidents pro tem and the floor leaders in both houses receive $193,400 per year. And that is their salary for being a United States Senator. So as you can see, that's a pretty good paycheck. So that is why they want to be reelected so often, because, you know, if they don't get reelected, they don't get that pay. Non-salary compensation. Members receive a number of fringe benefits, and some are quite substantial. For example, each member has a special tax deduction. That deduction recognizes the fact that most members of Congress must maintain two residences, one in his or her home state and one in Washington. Generous travel allowances offset the cost of several round trips each year between home and Washington. Members pay relatively small amounts for life and health insurance and for outpatient care by a medical staff on Capitol Hill. They can get full medical care at very low rates at any military hospital. They also have a generous retirement plan to which they contribute. The plan pays a pension based on years of service in Congress, and longtime members can retire with an income of $150,000 or more per year. The lawmakers are also covered by Social Security's retirement and Medicare programs. So there are a lot of benefits that a senator or representative can get due to not just their pay, but these other benefits as well. Members are also provided with offices in one of the several Senate and House office buildings near the Capitol, and allowances for offices in their home state or district. Each member is given funds for hiring staff and for the operating costs related to running those offices. The franking privilege is a well-known benefit that allows them to mail letters and other materials postage-free by substituting their facsimile signature for the postage. So they don't have to, if they're going to mail things to their constituents, or like those flyers that you get for advertising their campaign and all of that, they don't have to pay for the postage on that. Congress has also provided its members with the free printing and, through franking, the free distribution of speeches, newsletters, and the like I was just saying. Radio and television tapes can be produced at very low cost. Each member can choose among several fine restaurants and 2 first-rate gymnasiums. Members receive still more privileges, including such things as the help of the excellent services of the Library of Congress and free parking in spaces reserved for them at the Capitol and also at Washington's major airports. So there's a lot of other benefits to being a senator or representative. Why serve? Despite these many fringe benefits, few citizens choose to run for Congress. In addition to the costs such as a venture entails, the reluctance to serve can be traced to the enormous challenges of the job, weighed against the relatively modest compensation enjoyed by the nation's lawmakers. While it is true that millions of Americans would view $174,000 as a hefty salary, the fact is that many of the men and women who serve in Congress are at the top of their professions and actually take a pay cut to serve. Several are also already millionaires. The work entails long hours and intense public scrutiny. Additionally, running for office can be expensive and exhausting and can sometimes draw a candidate's family into the fray. So why does anyone serve in Congress? So, like it was saying there, their salaries may seem like a lot of money to us, but to the people that are running for office, a lot of them are already very wealthy, and actually by doing this and not working at whatever their normal job would be, they're taking a pay cut. So why does anyone serve in Congress? Many members of Congress are anxious to make a difference, to bring about changes they care about, and to help their communities. In addition, the prestige of office is also an appealing part of the job. Congress, as an institution, is sometimes held in low regard, but individual members are well respected. Not everyone in office cares about being a big shot, but many do. In fact, some speculate that Congress is filled with disproportionately large number of folks who care about prestige. But that may not be a bad thing. Even the framers knew that the desire to be held in high regard by constituents can serve to keep legislators, as they say, on task. So, while some people do get into Congress and they do just want to do good work, they want to bring about change and help their communities, to help their voters and help their home state. But some people just want to be famous, and being elected to Congress is one way to do that. And while that may not sound like the most noble purpose to run for office, the fact that everybody knows that they're going to be watched can help keep people doing the right thing. People aren't going to try to get away with something if they know they're being watched. So even though being a pseudo celebrity might be the driving factor for some people, the fact that they know that they're going to be watched is going to keep them honest, or at least we would hope so. The politics of pay. There are only 2 real limits on the level of congressional pay. One is the president's veto power. The other and more potent limit is the fear of voter backlash, an angry reaction by constituents at the ballot box. That fear of Election Day fallout has always made most members reluctant to vote to raise their own salaries. Congress has often tried to skirt the politically sensitive pay question. It has done so by providing for such fringe benefits as a special tax break for those who must maintain 2 residences, a liberal pension plan, more office and travel funds, and other perquisites or perks, items of value that are much less apparent to the folks back home. So they know that being able to give themselves a pay raise is a power that a lot of people are going to view with a lot of irritation. If you feel that your senator's not doing a great job and then he voted to give himself a major pay raise, well, you're going to be aggravated and you're probably going to vote for somebody else, and then they're going to get voted out. So they know that. So typically they don't like to address it directly. They might try to pass small perks here and there to give themselves a little bit of those non-salary compensation things, a little bit here, a little bit there. and so that people won't notice it as much. So even though they do have the power to raise their own pay, they're not going to do it because they could just get voted out if they get too ambitious with that. So that is one way it kind of balances out. Okay, this chart shows the salaries of members of Congress from a different perspective. So we're talking about their pay. And to you and me and your average person, that sounds like a whole heck of a lot of money. But let's put that in a little bit of perspective. So, for this chart, the key here says that $1 sign equals $43,594. So, down here at the bottom we have average American with a college degree. That is about $1 sign, $43,594. This is all just averages. So that's your average person with a college degree. Now if we go up to Congressperson, we have $3.50 signs. So that is 3.5 times the amount that the average person would be expected to make. So, it's growing. But then we get up to CEO of Walmart. Massive amounts. Well over, it dwarfs the salary of the Congressperson. CEO of Verizon, of Target. You see, these salaries are insanely massive. Meaning whenever you get back down here to Congressperson, while that might seem like a lot of money to the average person, if you put it into comparison to what CEOs of major businesses make, it's, as a lot of people would say, a drop in the bucket. It's not a whole lot, honestly, whenever you put it into that perspective. And that's going to be it for this video. Guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Send them to me. You know all the different ways you can get a hold of me. I hope everybody's having a great day, and I'll see you again real soon.